Lakeland.
All right, well, it's good that you're there, Doc, because that's kind of what I want to touch on. Spring training, the Tigers, we've been discussing it, and a lot of the cornerstones, right, with the Tigers. Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter's another one. The last piece of the puzzle they have is to, quote, stay healthy for a season. How do you do that, Doc? How does an MLB baseball player for 162 games in 180 days, how do they stay healthy?
You know, we can give you all the fancy and the secret sauces and all that stuff, but it's really luck. It's preparation, spending your time in the training room, being responsible to your body, but overall, you got to have a little luck to get through. I mean, there's a lot of unfortunate injuries. I mean, look at Trout from last year. I mean, that guy has all the energy to play ball every day. It's just he kept having unfortunates that kept him out. But, you know, for the Tigers, you know, I think they're more serious and more motivated. I think the Lions have changed the culture of Detroit sports. I think these guys are going to do, you know, again, we have an unbelievable training staff, our trainers, our doctors for the Tigers, you know, all top of the line of everything. So it's really, I mean, like, you can talk to Mac. I mean, when they were winning, they're motivated to stay healthy. Winning solves a lot of things and motivations. That little ache or pain, you're pushing through it. You're spending extra time into the locker room and the training room. And when you're losing, you know, like anything, you're basically, you got a different attitude. What can we politically say? You got a different attitude when the team isn't winning.
How does that play from your point of view, Doc? Being you know, in the locker room, obviously it's easier to get guys on board when you're winning and stuff like that. But does it change per sport, like a different mentality? Because you're dealing with baseball guys that have 162 games, dealing with basketball guys and hockey guys that play 80-some, and then you're dealing with football guys 16. So it's a different season and stuff like that. Does the mental side of it, the Doc side, you know, putting guys in the position, does that go into it?
Yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, baseball, it's kind of one of the reasons I didn't get serious with the Tigers, because it's every day. You got to be ready every day. You got to pace yourself. You know, the resting is something new. Every year it's getting more important how we're resting our players, especially our all-stars. So baseball is a lot more, makes sense, and we're resting them. We're not going to play them in the doubleheader. You know, the energy level from a baseball player can not get into like the baseball grades, but they're not burning the calories, the energy that the rest, like an NFL guy, like a hockey guy. You're constantly going. You're using a whole different amount of energy in your body. Fast twitch fibers are, you know, it's for a minute when you start running after a baseball. When you really look at a baseball player, when you look at a right fielder, how much is he really doing during the game? So it's not exhausting where you're losing weight. Like if we weigh a hockey player at the beginning of the game and the end of the game, you're talking about he's losing 2 to 7 pounds per game. Football players, same kind of thing. Basketball, it depends what their energy level playing. Baseball players, they're not exhausting themselves while playing. You know, no disrespect to them, it's just the type of game. So do they need that rest? Not like the rest, but it's still, like you pointed out, it's a lot of games. It's multiple times a week. So they got an understanding. So yeah, we do treat them differently. We act different. We recover them different. So there's a different mentality for baseball versus the other, definitely hockey and football.
Dr. Pierce joining us here. He's down in Clearwater, Florida at the New York Yankees, Philadelphia Phillies spring training game. So, Doc, I'm glad you're there, because we can actually check in with you on another question here. And this is more for Spencer, and I'm asking him this right now. It's warm, right? It's warm down there. Baseball, summertime sport and all that. Doc, what can you do if you're going to be like Spencer and you're going to crush 6 tall guys, like 6 tall beers out there in the 90-degree heat? What do you have to do to stay hydrated, Doc? What's the ratio? When do you have to start hydrating? This is for Spencer.
Thank you.
Spencer, we've talked about this off camera. Spence knows you gotta hydrate in between. For every 2, if he's doing the extra, if it's not the 16 ounce, it's a 64 ounce. So we need to define what 2 equals. You should be hydrating in between. So, like, the classic story is the woman who tells me, I only have 1 glass of wine a night. And then we start figuring out that the 1 glass of wine was a full bottle of wine. So you gotta know your customer. So with Spence, I don't think he's drinking the 16 ounce guys. He's got the 32 and the 64s going.
Oh yeah.
So for every 32 ounces, I want 16 ounces of water in there.
All right, so there it is. That's the equation. So Spenny's got something to work with. Doc, we won't keep you much longer, man. I know you're at the baseball game, and I appreciate you tapping in. Some people in the chat, they want us to do a top 5 locations that Dr. Pierce has joined the show from. We're piling them up. What's your favorite place you've been to lately?
Lately, I just got back from Utah, from Deer Valley. I burned more energy trying not to hurt myself in an hour than most people burn for 8 hours of skiing. I think I did 5,000 elevation, and I burned about 200 calories. So it's a little crazy. Now, Israel was probably my number 1, Israel and Paris for the most recent. But being in studio is always number 1 for me, so I can get that emotional content out there.
There you go. Well, Doc, we appreciate the time, man. Thanks for joining us during the baseball game as well, and we'll talk to you next week, I think, in studio, right?
Yeah, real quick, you wanted to talk about Carpenter and the stress fracture.
Yeah.
Real quick, I don't think it's going to play an issue this year. I think that he's a young athlete that understands that he was injured. It was an unusual injury. And I would hope that he spent a lot of time off season to prepare, because you can have a lot of secondary stuff. Like I just had somebody, a young athlete, 30-year-old runner, hit by a truck. She hurt her knee. She didn't care for it properly. It led to ankle pain, hip pain, and now back pain almost a year later. So you gotta, for the people that aren't the athletes, that simple injury, if you don't pay attention to it, it's gonna lead to your mechanics. Just think of the car concept. If the wheel's out of alignment on one wheel, you're going to be okay for a little while, but eventually you're going to have you're going to wear out the car in an irregular purpose. So I know it's getting loud here. You guys hearing me okay?
Yeah, we got you, Doc.
Yeah, so with Carpenter, I think he's going to be a fine-tuned machine. I think he does well this year. And again, it's a young athlete having a small injury that he's going to be more cautious. Kind of my same thing with these guys, that they're not invincible anymore and they're going to work harder. Hopefully we'll see that in him also.
All right, Doc, stay in the shade, man. Don't get too much sun, all right?
All right, you take care, guys.
All right, there he is, Dr. Pierce, everybody, our injury insider.
Attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insight with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy and Thursdays during Ermanni and Edwards, where he offers top-notch injury advice. Trust the guy that I trust. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944.